listening to the Meadows and Makers podcast with Making Stuff and Jack Dub. Making Stuff and Jack Dub.
Someone's
Making Stuff and Jack Dub. Making Stuff and Jack Dub.
Trust me.
You're listening to Meadows and Makers podcast
with Jack Dub and Making Stuff. Peace.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week of the Meadows and Makers podcast here on MSP Waves. The show is all about trying to move into more of a self-reliant future for yourself and your loved ones, and I try to bring on inspiring people that are trying to move more in that direction themselves, and just cool people I meet from my life adventures and everything like that. So once again, if you don't know me, I'm Greg Dowd, also known as Making Stuff on the Steemit blockchain, and it is a pleasure to be here with you today. And with all the craziness going on in the world, make sure that you have enough liposomal vitamin C, some colloidal silver, smoke some weed and get some sun, and take care of your immune system. So it's a important thing that's going on right now, and there's lots of stories out there, lots of stuff happening in the markets especially, and I think it's no better time than now to plant a tree, grow some food, have a garden, and start moving in a positive direction towards your own self-reliance. So that's a big goal of mine. So this show, I need to get some housekeeping done up front here. The views and opinions that are expressed on this show are my own, and those of my guests who do not reflect on MSP Waves and the wonderful people that keep this operation going around here. And big thanks to Rondon and everybody that works behind the scenes here on this PAL Discord server and with MSP, with the Meadows Support Project. And big thanks for all of you guys out there joining me today. I can do a quick shout out to everybody that's hanging out in the audience. What do we got? Anti-Commie Blood. I think that's Tainted Blood. What's up? We got Arsenal 49. We got Crimson Clad. We got Foxit, Foxcoat. My guest today is Lepridian. We're doing some troubleshooting right now. Hopefully, we can get everything figured out. I'm gonna bring him on soon. Rondon, solo miner. I see Fork This popped in. Vlad, what's up? How are we doing? And yeah, so welcome to the show today. And this show, I like to start off this show by saying I will be. It's a motto I carry in my heart, and I just kind of spread around for this show. And it's I will be an inextinguishable light of possibilities for myself and others. And it's just something to hold in the heart and to keep moving in a positive direction every day. Is what I say that for. So anyway, yeah, like a flashlight, brother. Yeah, just like you click the button and it turns on some lights. So, and then wicked awesome unicorn there. Fork This. So yeah, so with all that being said, my guest today is somebody I met at Anarchapulco, and a really interesting guy, a really interesting character, and he's got a really cool story. He's going on has been on quite a ride himself. He is now working as a personal trainer and personal fitness, and he's living down there in Mexico. And so gonna bring him on and share his story with you guys. So this will be a cool episode. So let me bring him on here, and we'll see if some things are resolved or if we need to go into further troubleshooting. Let's see. Looks like I'm still having problems maybe with Todd, can you hear me? How we doing? No. Yep. So anyway, Todd is a cool guy. His background is he's originally from Barbados, and then he ended up moving to the UK and doing like civil engineering. We're gonna get into his story more when he gets on, and then we're gonna get real into it. So, recent events that have been happening on my homestead, we'll just maybe talk about that for a little bit, is that last week I ordered a 40-foot shipping container, and it's due for delivery to my property next week. And so I spent last week working on getting the land all prepared and everything to accept the shipping container. And solo miner, I did not get the bee home up because I was wallowing around in the mud trying to get the property ready for the shipping container. So I did not do that, but I will be down there tonight through Monday working, and I have a whole triaxle truck coming down there to drop off a bunch of gravel, and that should happen on Monday. I have been like I said, I've been playing in the mud. It's been raining nonstop in Alabama, and it's it's been just crazy. So I've been trying to do the best I can to get all that going. I see Todd just popped back in there. Let's see if I can bring him in, and we can chat. Hey Todd, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Great. That's great. Awesome. Nice.
You know, literally, when you were introducing me, it just dropped. I couldn't hear anything, and for some reason, even the app, you know how it is to get on these technological gremlins. As soon as you're ready to start, even when yesterday it was all fine and good, you know.
Yeah. You know what? Like technical issues are always plaguing on this Discord and everything. So yeah, I'm glad it's working out, and well, we can move forward from here with this thing. But yeah, there's always some kind of gremlin in the technology or something like that. So yeah, man, I kind of give you a little quick introduction there, but welcome to the show. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to come on with me and kind of share your story. So what I like to do with all my guests is have you tell everybody a little bit about your background and your story. So yeah, maybe you could introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Just thanks for inviting me on to your podcast. It was really nice to connect with you and our couple. We had and the whole event was pretty good. And going there, you connect with amazing people of life. It's so much easier to share and to be yourself. To acknowledge you for that. So basically, my name is Todd, and from my accent, you can tell that I am neither English,
Yeah,
say this, and I went to 18 years ago, and I studied by profession. The whole story is after you finish study, you get a job, and then you get another job, and as you climb the ladder, you end up making more money, and then you end up, living pretty. So I guess you could say that before I even start that, I was working on the biggest construction project in Europe 4 years ago. Project costed about 16 billion pounds sterling, and it was basically a construction of a new railway line in central London and the outskirts of London. And I was fortunate where I was on a project that was, they call it the heart of the project, heart of Crossrail, because literally all the lines, that was the central hub to connect all the different lines. And that project was like, in the end, about a £500 million. So it was a pretty, we had a pretty good job, pretty well respected, but doing well, living life, traveling. And 3 completely. I basically, let me see, about 15 years ago. Wow, that long.
yeah.
Accident. I fell off my motorcycle and I broke my foot. So at that, things were going really well. I had just finished university. I found myself a part-time job. I was making good money, so it was for my first 2 months, have the deposit down, have money to go back to Barbados for holiday. Life was great. So I went home to Barbados, and in 3 days, I broke my. In the Caribbean, having a motorcycle and a motocross motorcycle was like the height. So here is me now coming home from the UK. That time the pound was $4 to the Barbados dollar. So and 3 days into my holiday, I fell off my motorcycle, broke my foot. Long story short, I didn't get my surgery on my foot until 10, and that's the reason why I had many complications, because the doctors went on. So imagine you're there waiting for 5 days in a row, not eating for 5 days because when you have surgery, and I could. So that is where you would say my whole reflect on it really, really. So fast forward to 2016, my foot started to have many issues.
Okay.
Basically, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can still hear you. It is chopping a little bit on me, but for the most part, I hear you. Yeah.
Right. So fast forward to 2016, I was in Colombia, and I went to enjoy myself. My foot, I was going up a hill, and it completely seized. It was in such excruciating pain that I knew that some. Anyway, that led to me having to have a massive surgery on my foot. It was a 6-hour surgery, and it was about £12,000 to do. So that surgery, I had a metal drilled into, and I was in the time when I basically lost. I was made redundant. Can you hear me, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're saying you returned to your job. You had an accident, and that put you out a lot in cash. It was like $12,000 or something to pay for the surgery for your foot and everything, and then what? You returned to the UK after all this, and
well, no, basically what happened is that I think maybe the call dropped there. So when I was in Colombia is when I felt my foot just having the problem. So when I went to the orthopedic surgery, he told me that I have to have surgery. Okay. So this surgery, to put it in context, I had a metal frame drilled into my foot. It's called an Elizarov frame because it was a Russian guy that invented it.
Okay.
And when I said drilled in, like he actually took a drill and drilled it into my shin and then drilled it into the bottom of my foot. And that was in my foot for 3 months.
Oh, damn.
So while as a man I could never understand what childbirth feels like, I think pain-wise, I think I have a pretty good idea. Because the pain was a constant 8 to 9 every day, 24/7 for 3 months straight.
Holy crap.
Yeah. What I used to do is I used to try to go to bed like 4 o'clock in the morning, so I'm so tired, so that eventually I could fall asleep because the pain was so strong and so intense that even the morphine that they were giving me in the hospital would not even work. So just to show how like bad it was, because when I was in the hospital, you would take the morphine and I'll feel sick, but they would ease the pain, but it was just not enough. So I just had to bear it. So my tolerance to pain now is physically is quite high, because of that. So anyway, during my when I first got the surgery in January 2017, I was made redundant in March 2017.
Oh.
So then now, I was like, okay, I'm on crutches, and I was starting to, feel back myself. But then, just like everyone else, we had all the crypto crash because I had, a decent amount of change that I wasn't even worried of being redundant, and then lost a whole heap in that because, I wasn't like some people that were really prudent and, take some profits.
Yeah.
So, let's just say that whole situation affected me physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, financially, all the alley words you can use.
Yeah.
It affected me. And, I started to I was on the verge of depression because I underestimated how long it would take my foot to recover. Yeah. And it was like, to put it in context, I've always been an active guy all of my life.
Okay.
Every single sport almost every sport you could think of, I represented my school in to a competitive level where if I had the ability, the opportunity in terms of investment wise, I could have maybe swam for Barbados. I could have been an athlete for Barbados. If I had the backing, I could even play tennis for Barbados,
Wow.
But I was always one of these kind of guys that was very into sports, self-taught, always very competitive in general,
Right.
So imagine now, at that time before the surgery, I was into the gym, I was really fit and everything. And, obviously if you're on crutches, you put on weight, because you're not training. So I would say that I let myself go in a bit, and I put on quite a bit of weight, and mind you, I was to still do push-ups and pull-ups, even with that frame on my foot, because I had a pull-up bar at home.
Yeah.
And so that kind of like got me through, but my foot just wouldn't recover at all.
Wow.
So this was like around June 2017. My mother was telling me to come back to Barbados, and I was just saying, for me, in my head, I didn't want people to see me on crutches, because in my head, I thought that they would think of me as a failure, or, you know what I mean? Look at him, you know what I mean? He's on crutches again. Because we all make up stories in our head about things that generally aren't real,
Yeah.
And eventually, I listened to her, and I went back in August. And I fell in love with the sea again, because when I was a kid, we used to go to the sea all the time. But when I used to go back home to Barbados on holiday while I was at university working, I would hardly go to the sea, because it's like I was born there. I have the sea all the time. I didn't really care. For me, it was going home, checking friends, and getting girls. As a young man in his 20s and 30s, that's all you're into.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, went back home, and then like, one of the moments that was kind of like galvanized me to change was we were going to the beach one day, and my mother had to help me, because the beach is at a lower level from the road, so there's like a sand step. So she had to like take my hand, because I couldn't use the crutches, and help me hop down.
Yeah.
And I saw the pain in her eyes, and she physically couldn't do anything, for me, because me, what can she do? She can't take away the pain. She can't make the foot get any better.
Right.
And when I saw the pain in her eyes, I was like, okay, you know what? I realized that my actions have consequences on people, and me being in this very low state obviously affects her. So what I did is I pulled myself up, and when I came back into the UK in September, I formulated a plan on going back to the gym, and then I started to do some mad research on how can I train to protect my foot, because one of the reasons why I ended up hurting my foot was because of vanity. I knew that I shouldn't have been doing some of the things that I was doing on my foot, because I had problems from the first surgery. But in search, in because of vanity and trying to look good in the eyes of other people, and making my foot worse. So anyway, came back in September 2017, did some mad research on how can I train, what can I do, spoke to a couple of friends that were into training, and started to do some trial and error, change my diet and stuff. But then the part 2 of my story commences.
Okay.
Now, to put it in preference, I've had quite a good life. I've traveled, I've had a lot of women in my life, but I never fell in love. I didn't even know what that word meant.
Yeah.
And I used to always judge people when, like, you see stories of, like, this woman carrying away all this cash from this guy, or this guy commit suicide, or, letting the woman trick him, Right. I was the guy that used to judge those people,
Yeah.
So what happened is that there was a girl that I knew, and she was going through some really bad stuff as well at the time. Okay. She had lost her husband, and at the time I was going through stuff with my foot. But when I came back from Barbados, my spirits and my energy was so much higher. I was like vibrant, and I think that's one of the reasons kind of what like attracted her to me. So we, after like a good few weeks of talking and getting to know one another, and mind you, I wasn't looking for anybody, because she's a Muslim, and anyone that knows the Islamic faith knows that if a man is a non-Muslim, then you have to convert to be with her. This would have become very central coming on later in time. Long story short, fell in love with her. I thought she was my soulmate. I thought she was the one for me. And I understand now when you love someone, how when you can feel when they're coming. You can feel when they can call you. So many times where I would pick up my phone to text her, she would text me. So we had that kind of connection with her. So like I said, I've never fell in love with anyone before. Never had that spiritual, energetic connection with someone.
Yeah.
And long story short, she wanted me to convert. I told her no. And she didn't take it very well because she tried to destroy me in the end. And
wow.
When they said that she tried to destroy me, let's just say that the worst things that could happen to a man happened to me, and it left me in tears and on my hands and knees literally for 6 months.
Wow.
So I got myself another job. Then I was made redundant again. So that's in 1 year.
Wow.
I was made redundant twice.
Wow.
Got my heart broken. All of my investments dropped by 90%. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Then I was still on crutches.
Yeah.
So I'm still carrying about 13 kilos more than what I should have. And I went down a very deep and dark tunnel.
Right.
So,
holy shit, that's a lot of shit to happen all at once.
At once. So when I tell people that the last 3 years have been the hardest years of my life, they have been like almost every single thing you can think about, psychologically, emotionally, economically.
Wow.
I used to get up on a morning and feel like crying when I see my portfolio drop by $6,000, And I'm like, you know. And there it is, I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, dude, man, my belly's big, man. And then I've got no girls, and I've got no job, and I've got no friends, because you really see who are your real friends when you're going through stuff like this,
Yeah, I understand that, man. Yeah, same thing with me. It's like going off and doing my own thing for a while is I may have had like two buddies that were still there for me, and you see who the real friends are for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So what happened is that there were a couple of things. One, the breakup with her pushed me to do what I'm doing now, because I went to, I don't tell this to many people, so by putting it in the public, obviously I put it out there, but I went to a personal development course. Mind you, I'm a guy that always used to have many girls in my life, but I felt so low. I went to a 3-day seminar on how to improve my skills to get girls.
Okay.
Imagine that. I was so low. I had so little self-confidence that I went to find out what to do, because I just couldn't figure it out. Let's put it in context. I went to a night. I swear to you on my life, there was this chick that blatantly was interested in me. I blatantly could have carried her home. And when I went to talk to her, no words can come out my mouth. Literally, I couldn't talk.
Wow.
And she was hot, man. Like, to put it in context, every guy in that bar was trying to talk to her, and she wanted to talk to me. But because I was so hung up on my ex-girl, I actually couldn't talk. I tried to, but I would just gibberish would come out, and I just was like all in my head, because all I could think about was her. So it was that moment that led me to go to do this seminars, because I'm like, what the hell?
What's going on with me? Yeah.
What's going on? Like, girls have never been an issue for me, and I can't speak. And like 5 years ago, oh man, I would have literally taken her home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I went to these seminars, one of the speakers at the seminars was talking about a business opportunity to do an online business. Now, his niche is online personal training. Now, but it's a business system. So what it was is that I was like, okay, I like this. I can actually teach people cryptocurrency. Oh, great, fantastic. So I spent like £3,000 on this course and started to study and, do stuff. And yeah, I got a couple of clients and stuff, but I can't say I was one of the first, but I learned in real time what internet, social media censorship was, because I'd be trying to do posts on Facebook, Instagram, and in order to drive leads, but I would get no feedback, even though all the information I was sharing was good information. But if I posted a picture of myself, just like a normal picture, I would get so much likes and comments, and I was like, what's going on here? So then I started to realize that the algorithms were playing to suppress the information. So anyway,
the crypto information, when you were talking about cryptocurrencies online and trying to make a business of coaching people with cryptocurrencies, you were getting censored for sharing that information?
Shadow banned.
Ah, okay.
So basically, I would get literally no comments, no likes, no nothing. And if I put a picture of like me and my family, or me and just like in some nice clothes or whatever, 30 or 40 likes. I was like, what? What's going on here, man? Tried it on Facebook. So then what I did now is I tried to change somebody's speech and start talking about financial, education, that kind of stuff. And that kind of helped, but the algos are pretty clever, man, so they know everything. So that kind of frustrated me. Even I had a couple of clients and stuff, and I went to do another business, and that didn't work. Then I bought another. So the course that I did with the business system for the online personal training that I was using for cryptocurrency, that guy who I call my mentor now, he introduced me to another guy that also does an online business, and it's for email copywriting. And I was like, okay, I like this. This looks interesting. So I jumped on that bandwagon, spent another £2,500 or something like that to learn how to do email copywriting.
Okay.
And I've invested so much time in this, and I tried, and then I got me a client, and then 6 weeks into the contract, he's like, he doesn't like my style of writing, and he says, well, Todd, he can break the contract. Okay. Now, this was literally just before as I was going to go on holiday to Chile, and last year, because I was in Mexico last year, because I came to Acapulco 2019, liked the place, and because of all this stuff going on, my ex-girl feeling low, depressed, sad, I decided to pack up everything temporarily and go to Mexico for 6 months. And I experienced in real time what they say. We have a saying in Barbados: come and see me and come and live with me are two different things. So in proper English, what that means is come and see me and come and live with me are two different things. So when I visited Acapulco in February 2019, great, not a problem. Met a girl there as well. Everything is nice.
Yeah.
Come back in May. Oh man, the baptism of fire began. Like almost everything that could go wrong went wrong. Almost everything.
Wow.
So anyway, I planned my trip to go to Chile, and then just as I was about to go, just before I was going to go, I lose the contract with one of my clients, and I was like, wow, another freaking hit. So can you understand? I was getting hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. So I was in a very, very low place. Like I tried about 3 or 4 businesses in that time, all failed.
Yeah.
Spent, I don't know, maybe almost £10,000 and
just trying to figure out different systems. Yeah.
I'm looking at my portfolio every day, and I'm like, damn, man, what's going on? Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I went to Chile, had a great time. And then this moment here is another moment that changed my life. So there are 3 really key moments. One was my surgery in January 2017. The next one was getting involved with my ex-girl. And then the Chile what happened is that I missed my flight to come back to Mexico.
Wow. And
it costed me £850 to get back to Mexico. So, Greg, you see, when they tell you nothing, nada, zero was working.
Yeah.
Nothing. For 3 years, dude. Everything that I tried, every relationship I got involved with, women here in Mexico, they just wanted me was for my money, or they just wanted to sleep with me, or they just tricked me, or they robbed me, like, you know what I mean? Like, literally robbed me, you know what I'm saying? Like, man. So it was everything. So I sat down in the airport for 16 hours, in Santiago airport, waiting to come back to Mexico. Wow. And it was about in the 10th hour of, when I say constant thinking, I was to the point where it was like, this has got to stop, man. I'm taking too many hits here.
Yeah.
And I asked myself, what can I do? What to do? And it was just like a voice came in my head, and it just said, online personal training. Now, you know, I'm a member of the anarchist. Like in the anarchist community, we are very aware of what social media is. It's a surveillance tool. We capture all the data, etc., etc. So I was like, nah, bruv, I'm not doing that, man. I'm not putting myself out there at all. I'm not telling people anything about myself. Nah. And it was like, but what else to do? There are no more bullets in the gun. Literally, I was like staring at the sky, at the ceiling in the airport, in the 10th hour, and the voice said to me, this is what you do. Wow. And I was like, okay. Took a deep breath. I said, okay, all right. This is never going to happen to me again. I'm never going to miss another flight. I'm never going to be in this situation. I'll never be this low again. So came back to Mexico, and it was around the middle of September. And I started to invest some time into learning how to do it. Okay. And I was still doing the email marketing at the time because I was still trying to get clients and stuff. And then it was only around October last year that I committed fully because the email marketing wasn't working out. Even though, again, I spent loads of money in getting some of the best mentors, some of the best email copywriting templates, etc., and it wasn't working. Yeah. Now, there was another part to it. I was like, okay, if I can do this thing on social media, I need to get fitter, because while I was always fit, it was never something that, dude, I'll be honest, I never wanted to do this. I never wanted to be a mentor, a coach, a personal trainer. I never wanted to be a person out there doing these things, and I fought it. Yeah. And the harder I fought it, the harder it hurt, because it was what I'm supposed to do. And when I started to do it, I said, okay, my characters, I go all in 100%. And I went all in 100%, made the tweaks in my diet that I was too lazy to make, which I knew I should have made years ago. I made the things that I learned from my research in terms of training-wise. I stopped doing it half-heartedly, and I did it 100%. And I'm in the best shape ever in my life, even before my second surgery. You know what I mean? I feel much happier. I've got an online business now, which is something I wanted to do. Yeah. But I'll tell you to people that it's not been easy. I suffered literally for 3 years. I did not earn any money for over 13 months. You know? Wow. So I've been investing all of my money into myself to learn what to do to figure this stuff out called life, you know? Right. And, you know, when I went back to the UK last year in November, I was still holding this energy and this regret for my ex-girl. Uh-huh. And I was really looking forward to coming to Mexico again, to having that clean break from the UK, from her, and all that kind of stuff. Right. And, you know, when I went to Acapulco, that kind of livened up my spirits. But before that, my dear beloved friend, she reached out to me because I did ayahuasca with her. last year, and then I went to the shaman that did that ceremony. I went to his place in Tulum, and I did another session with him.
Uh-huh.
So I was my mind was open to psychedelics and spirituality, improving yourself. And she messaged me a week before the Acapulco and told me about Bufo Alvarez.
Okay.
Now, I'll be honest, I never heard of it, and I was like, man, why is not ayahuasca, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the shizzle.
Yeah.
But anyway, I read a little bit about it, and I was like, I wasn't really too keen on it, but about a couple of days before the trip, I sat down in my kitchen. I said, okay, Todd, you need to change something. Something is not right here. I don't feel well enough about myself inside. And I just messaged her back and says, okay, I'll do it.
Uh-huh.
And I just trusted her and the universe. And, and this is the funny thing. She trusted me so much is that she didn't even take a deposit from me until, 2 days before the ceremony.
Oh, wow.
And now, as an entrepreneur, one of the things that you have is, when people promise to pay and you've laid out money for certain things and they're waiting for that money, that's always a very, what's the right word? It is a touch and go situation because a person can flop on you.
Right.
She just trusted me.
They could back out on you, yeah.
Exactly. She trusted me, and I'm generally a person of my word, always. And the only time the only time I back on something is if it's 100% I can't do it, and I let that person know. I don't say I'll do something and then flop on you. There has to be, because I believe in being a person of your word, because your word is your bond. Your word is who you are, and if you can't trust my word, you can't trust me. So I try to always have integrity in the things that I say, I do, and I mean, I believe in, and I try to walk it and talk it, because it's a very rare trait now in society to have integrity.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like I said, she trusted me, you know what I mean? And it was like, oh my gosh, man, another £1,000 now. Oh, Jesus. And I'm like, wow. I said, okay, man, you know what, Toddy? Look, I've got nothing to lose.
Right.
And something has to change. And let's just see, man. You know what I mean? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, man. That's literally what I said to myself.
Yeah.
So I trusted her, and all I can say is, wow. Wow. Bufo Alvarez changed me 100%. How I describe myself now is that I am whole and complete. I have removed all of the soul contracts from my previous lives, all of the energy that was holding me back. My fears is crazy because my fear, I didn't know what it was. And my fear was fear of both failure and success at the same time, because I feared failure because what would people think of me,
right.
I'm this guy that's an engineer. I'm self-taught in Spanish and Portuguese. I'm fluent in both languages.
Yeah.
I taught myself cryptocurrency on my own. I spent a Sunday just doing all research about it. And then, you know what I mean, I used to teach people about it. I, taught myself how to let's put it this way, I can stitch, I can sew. I don't know how to thread a machine, but if you thread a machine, I can stitch.
Yeah.
I can cook. I can dance salsa, bachata. I went to classes. So I'm very multi-talented and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had this story in my head of fearing failure, and then also failure of success. What would people think of me,
Right.
So what happened as well is that there was another thing that I feared, and this was even stronger. It was a poverty fear.
Okay.
Now, when I was growing up in Barbados as a kid, we were a middle class family, but we're not poor, but we were a middle class family. And
right.
But they had a point in time where my dad was made redundant, and they put a financial strain on the family, and I was trying to excel in lawn tennis, but it was so expensive, and my mother had to stop. And I mean, she did what she had to do, and it was like, oh, Todd, I can't afford it, we can't afford it. And obviously there are more important things to feed in the family than lawn tennis lessons. But that sort of like, I got that programming from my mother, and it's not her fault because she was trying to survive and protect us. But as a child, you get that programming where you fear poverty. So I always used to have this fear of literally being poor on the street and being a beggar.
Yeah.
That was always my ultimate like fear. So that's why like I used to hoard many things, hoard money. Like I put all of my savings in precious metals and cryptocurrency, because it was like how most people are when they find out about these things. They be into getting money out the system.
Yeah, getting outside of the banking system.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I was a hoarder. Like I always collect many things. I don't like to throw things out. I've got loads of clothes that I don't wear. I still have many shoes that I don't wear. So I got that thing from her of like trying to like, just hoard things to protect your wealth and poverty. We were poor.
Right.
But it's the programming, it's the story you invent in your head,
Yeah.
So when I did Bufo, that became clear. And I also saw that I have all the tools I need, because I was always trying to search to get this other skill, this other tool, learn to do this, learn to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And I always felt like I was not really adequate. Like I would see these guys and I'm like, damn, man, he dances better than me, or he speaks Spanish better than me, or he's faster than me, he could lift more weights than me, he's got bigger chest than me, I always used to be comparing myself to people and thinking I'm inferior. But Bufo said to me straight, you are whole and complete. And I connected to my higher self, and I started to see my soul being created, the beginning of the creation of my soul. And it was crazy because it works differently from ayahuasca, where ayahuasca is with the sixth chakra, which is your pineal gland, which is your third eye.
Yeah.
But Bufo is the fourth chakra, which is the heart, which is the feelings, the connect with love and infinite, infinite love. That's what you are.
Well.
So when I felt that, it changed.
Wow.
Changed.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
That is one hell of an experience on that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we went through that same ceremony with the shaman Pitt.
Pitt and Sandra.
Yeah, and it is one heck of a journey. Bufo alvarius, I don't know if you guys are familiar. It comes from a toad, and it's like I guess it's like the venom it secretes or something like that. They milk the toad and they take the venom and dry it out in the sun, and then once it's dried, you can put it into a pipe, and when you heat it, it turns into 5-MeO-DMT, and it is one intense journey that you go on after you take that into your body. It's like losing your complete ego and maybe connecting with the infinity or something. It was kind of what I experienced. It was just it's a pretty crazy experience.
Yeah. So basically that there, man, is like, oh my goodness, I saw that, okay, Todd, because this is the thing, it's hard, unless someone has done psychedelics, it's hard to really explain the experience, because words don't have the proper, you lack the descriptive ability to express. But what I felt, because it was not like just visions, yes, you close your eyes, but it was, you feel it, and it was said, and I spoke it back, because, you know what I mean, I wasn't in control of my thoughts and emotions at that time. It said, Todd, you are whole and complete. You have all the skills and tools you need. Yeah? and it made me repeat it at least 3 times. And and every single card that I pulled for the ceremony spoke to me, where one of the cards was the wild boar. That one there was one of the sickest, because it talked about you losing your power. And as a man, men and women, we're the same, but we're just different, and we have different attributes and strengths. And a woman bears children and a man donates himself to give children, so we're obviously different. But being that a man is physically stronger, he has to be physically stronger because that's how he's built. But I felt from that experience that I lost my power. Yes, I may have a good physical body, but my internal strength wasn't there. And the boar said that you need to go and fight against the boar and cut off its head. And it talked about the story of the guy that fought the boar and put the wild boar in the mantle. And it said, you need to go and reclaim your power. And I was like, Jesus, Lord, man. Now, I was in tears. I was like, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I have no power.
Yeah.
So I had like many vivid dreams that night. And because Bufo works with, you feel it a lot after in terms of your dreams. And like I said, all I can say at the end of the whole ceremony is that I am whole and complete. I know what my job is now. To put it in context, my mother told me, up to last week actually, she said, Todd, when you were a child, you always had like a following. When you were a little boy, there will always be people that will be following you, want to do what you're doing, always looking up to you. And you were always like this teacher, this guide, this mentor. I said, really? She says, yeah. She said, can't you remember how you like cut your head when you fell down when you were like 5 or 6? I was like, vaguely. She says, because you were like the leader and you were like doing something, you were running and you fell and hit your head and you had to go to get like stitches in your head. And you said to me, Todd, Mommy, don't worry, because we had to get the bus, because at that time we only had one car and my mother didn't have a car because my mother's a teacher and I was a student in the same school. So we had to leave like around midday or just after midday to go to the doctor to get stitches. And she said, you're a little boy. And you said to me, Mommy, don't worry. Everything will be fine. Huh. And I was like, really? She said, yeah. So she said, you always had this thing about you where you were different. You always asked questions. You never accepted what people tell you. And you always were a leader. You always inspired people. Now, I was in tears because I didn't even know that about myself.
Yeah.
And so then after the Bufo, it was shown to me clear, Todd, embrace that you are a mentor, a coach. Teach people what you know, because we are a mind, body, spirit complex. Teach people how to connect to their mind by using their body, because the body achieves what the mind believes. If you believe you can get fit, the body will respond. When those two get married and come together, then that person finds their spirit. So now, this is what I do. I've embraced, because like I said, I was fighting it for a long time, and I didn't want to do it. But, it was very clear to me that, Todd, this is who you are, what you are. Share, give, and the universe will take care of you. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about not having a woman. Don't worry about what people think. Don't worry. Keep yourself in a state of love. Keep helping. Keep sharing. Keep guiding. And those that are aligned with you, you will attract them. They will come to you. And you will help them, teach them, touch, move, and inspire them. Yeah. And all I can say is that since last 2 weeks, everything has changed in my life. Everything. Yeah. The problems, the things that used to bother me no longer bother me. Anytime I use a different word now, I don't say I have problems, I say I have challenges. And I ask myself, what? Not why anymore. Why me? Why me? No. What can I learn? What can I do? What to do differently? Yeah?
Yeah.
And then I realized that when people do things to me, it's not me, it is them, because they're only acting out their program. So then also, I have to take a step back and interpret what's happened to me, because a lot of the times our interpretations and our perceptions, they control our reactions or non-reactions. So what it means now is that someone may do something to you, but you perceive it as bad, for example. Your reaction is going to be bad. Now, that person may have had no inclination of what they did to you was bad, but because of your interpretation, they react to you in that way. And it was showed visibly to me as well that the person is a mirror of me. So whatever I put out there or whatever I emit, they will only mirror me back. So if I'm talking to you and I start shouting, guess what? You're going to start shouting. If I'm talking to you and I punch you in the face, guess what? You're going to punch me back. So, you know what I mean? It's all to do with our perceptions and our interpretations. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that you be stupid and, you know what I mean, you just let someone do something to you. But now I tend to, like, ask myself, well, what really happened? What are the facts? What is the truth? You know what I mean? Because what I'm realizing is that what you think is real, it's not really what's real, you know. Because we can be having a conversation, you could tell someone something, and they hear it in a way, and you're like, but no, that's not what I said. And they'll say, no, da-da-da-da-da-da. And they'll be like, no, but that's not actually what I said. So what I do now is that, especially when I talk to clients now, I listen to them. I try to let them talk, and I listen, and I try to put myself in their shoes, because I realize they are me and I am them, because we are one. And now I'm doing that. I realize how bad of a connection I have with my clients, how I can make the experience that with me more personalized, because for example, when I'm designing diets, I think, okay, would I eat that, Todd? And I'm like, no. So I can't give them that to eat if I'm not going to eat it. So you can't be a fraud and tell someone to do something and you're not going to do it. So that's why when I sit down and design a diet, I take time and I ask myself, would I eat that? And the answer is no. I change it, you know, instead of just giving you, say, hey, Greg, just follow this here, man. Eat this, man. You look great. But nah, man, you can tell me I don't like that, man. I can say, man, you got to do it. But no, if I won't do it, how can I expect you to do it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, I've changed everything about myself. Now it's like like before I used to chase a lot of women in my life. And I say now, I don't chase women anymore. I chase dreams. I chase the dreams of my clients, because through their dreams is how I achieve, because their dreams are what gives me the inspiration to keep helping others. So it's not about me anymore, it's about serving them. It's service to others and not service to self. Because if I serve them, I serve myself, but I need to serve first. And literally, as things have made that switch energetically, psychologically, emotionally, metaphysically, boom, everything has changed. I have connected to my cosmic brothers, and I had 2 conversations with my higher self. And both times, my higher self told me straight, Todd, I have got this. Do not worry. And when I was doing the Bufo, I felt that the universe was going to protect me and is protecting me, because every single thing that's happened to me since I've been in Mexico has confirmed it time and time and time and time again. I give you an example, and this is one of the ones that was so current. So last year, because I used to do a lot of work on the computer in my flat here now, I used to get a lot of shoulder pains because the table is too low, and it used to put a lot of strain on my shoulders. So one of the things I was thinking to do was to buy a desk or a chair. So I come into my apartment here on Monday, and I see 2 like beach type chairs, you know, because you can fold them and stuff. And I was like, these are nice, you know what I mean? These would be nice to sit down in the veranda, the balcony and sip some wine and, you know what I mean, smoke a spliff on a Friday night because I'm very conscientious that everything has its own time. So I would only smoke weed on a Friday or Saturday because that's when my chill time. Monday to Friday, I work and I need to be completely focused and, you know, because it relaxes you, so you don't feel like doing anything. So you can't be productive if you do that, you know, at least for me. Anyway, so on Tuesday, my shoulder started hurting me again. I was like, oh, man. So what we can do, man? So I said, look, let me try this chair and see. By golly, Greg, you will not believe. The chair is perfect. Like, the chair, because the chair is lower, it means that the difference between the height of the chair and the table is enough for me to not put stress on my shoulders. This is how the universe works. I was going to go to buy a chair or table to work with specifically. And the landlord put 2 chairs in here. Yeah? The universe knew. Seriously, Greg, when you're connected to universal consciousness, you're connected to your higher self, when you're serving others, when you are giving to the universe takes care of you. And because of that, I am even more determined to keep in this state and this energetic frequency, because I was blown away. Because at first I didn't feel a difference, but the next day was like, wow. I was shocked. I was like, this is the universe. And I was like, okay, wow, okay. It's telling me every day, I have you. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's like the whole story your whole story is like, you know, I've experienced similar things where it's like if you're not pursuing your true purpose or path, then it seems like everything's an obstacle all the time, and you're always like there's lots of like just shit that gets thrown your way, and things just don't tend to work out. But just like you said, if you shift and you can find your purpose on what you're here to do, then there's a lot of synchronicities that can happen in your life, and there's just things that have no explanation can just kind of, you know, just kind of manifest and help you out in interesting ways. It's
brother, I can show you something, right? About 6 years ago, I did a personal development course called the Landmark Forum, and there's a way I call it curriculum for life. And my SELP, self-empowerment leadership program. So I had to create a project. Now the objective of this project is to get people to do things for you. It's to teach you to rely on the universe, to rely on people, to get them to help you with this project. Long story short, at my workplace, I got 140 people to donate blood because one day I was listening to the news and the BBC, and they were talking about blood stocks being low in the country. So I said, you know what, that'd be pretty good to do, man. You know what I mean? So I went, I spoke to the project manager, and she bought into it. She loved it because she was in the armed forces. So obviously for them, blood is always a big thing, you know, because on the battlefield and stuff, you know. So I got 140 people because my construction site, we had like, I don't know. I did it twice. I think we had about 350 people on that site. And both times I did it, I think it was, I think maybe 160 people, you know. Yeah, I had 140 to 160 that donated blood, including me. When I did that project, the people in the Landmark Forum, the Landmark organization, were trying to get me to be a coach. Dude, I ran away from that like the plague. I didn't want to do any coaching, any mentoring, nothing.
Yeah.
Why? I didn't want the responsibility.
Right.
I'm like, man, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Then people are like putting a lot of faith in you and
Correct.
looking to
Correct.
you like you're
Correct.
like you're under a microscope.
correct.
Yep.
And I was like, nah, man, I'm not doing that, man. Like, seriously, I used to avoid their calls. I would see the number popping up. And I was like, no, man, I'm not answering that. Forget that.
Yeah.
And what am I doing now? I'm a mentor, I'm a coach.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I ran away from it. I fought it for so long. And it's just like the things that you fight in life, the hardest not to do, it appears from my experience are the things that you should do. And those are the things that you end up being the best at, you know?
Yeah.
So it is really, everything has been a confirmation for me, because there's the thing. From my research, it seems that when we reincarnated here on this planet, we reincarnated because we had karma, soul contracts, and we had lessons of life to learn. And everything that happens to us, from my research, indicates that the things that happen to us because we make it happen to teach us a lesson. So you are really the author and the architect of your life.
Yeah.
So basically, on reflection, I got involved with that girl to teach me about what love felt like. I had to lose everything almost to understand what nothing would feel like. And then I had to go through all this pain and suffering to be able to make me empathize with people, because when I talk to people, I need to understand what they're going through. Because what I also saw in Bufo is that I judge people. And yet we say we don't, but we all do.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of this psychological subconscious programming that we have in this matrix.
Right.
And I try my best not to judge people anymore, because you don't know what a person's going through until you walk a mile in their shoes. So it's easy for me to look down on a guy on the street and say, man, you're an idiot for being on the street. But how do I know what happened to him? You know?
Right.
Like, I read a story in the news once I was in England, and there was this guy from Zimbabwe. And he left Zimbabwe when things started to get really bad. He went to the UK, and he became a teacher. Long story short, something happened and his paperwork just wasn't like legit. There was some mess up administratively.
Okay.
From reading the article, it doesn't seem that he did much wrong, but there seemed to be some slight admin error in the system. Long story short, he ended up losing his job. He was homeless. Not homeless because he was a bum and he did drugs, but because the system just caved on him, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? You could look at him and say, well, he's an idiot, he deserves that, he this, he that, but you don't know what happened to him. And he's a very intelligent guy, you know what I mean? He was very respected. He was a pretty good teacher.
Yeah.
And he was on the street for like a couple of years, man. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it just got to show you that you can't judge a person until you're in this situation. And what I have learned as well is that everyone's journey is as equally as hard as the other person, because it's all relative. And the stuff that happens to you because the universe knows you can handle it. And it's a matter of you to believe in yourself to rise up against those challenges and to accept that you can overcome it. But if you put your energy and intentions to a line that you can't do it, guess what? You'll never do it.
Yeah,
It'll never happen.
Yeah, you'll never achieve it. Yeah, a past guest came on, and it was somebody I met in Philadelphia for Anarchadelphia, and he recommended the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, and in that book it talks about how you have to actually create a vision of something in order to make it manifested. So you have to create a really solidified vision in your mind that just like we're saying, what you want to achieve is achievable, and that you've already even achieved it. And and once you can create that, then you can you'll work and you'll bring that into reality. But if you never have that, if you always have that negative self-talk and like it's not possible, you always tell yourself it's not possible, there's no way that it can happen or anything like that, then it'll never happen. It'll never. The mind is such a powerful thing. It's we got one of the guys. We got Vlad in the audience, just giving a couple examples from his own life. He said that he had a digital tens machine, cheap on Amazon. He wished he had an analog one, like his chiropractor did. And then he took a walk one day and decided to go down an alley for some reason, and he found one in the box like new. And it's just really cool experiencing some of these things. I know in my life the things manifest in strange ways, like if I'm working on a project or something like that, then the tools I'll need to just like magically be right around where I'm working at, and I don't have to really go looking for them or anything like that. They'll just kind of pop up there. And it's like, just some of these interesting things happen once you kind of become more in tune, I think, with your true purpose. And one of the things that I kind of got away from doing the psychedelics and participating in that Bufo ceremony is that another thing was just being grateful for being in this human body and having a body and being
Definitely.
able to, I told one of my coworkers at the prosthetic shop the other day, and I was just like, you ever just think how amazing it is to have this human mech suit and be able to use it and everything like that? And he kind of just looked at me like, man, what are you smoking?
Yeah, it is. The thing is that what I have learned as well is that I try to listen more and talk less.
Yeah.
And because, I'm a person I've done a lot of, just a preface so that everyone gets a true understanding. I'm what I call a political atheist, and I follow no religion, but I do believe in God, universal consciousness, creator of all things, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And what Christ said is that it's not what goes in you that should offend you, it's what comes out of you, i.e. what comes out of your mouth, what you say, right? So what I try to do now is I try to think a lot more before I speak. I try to not react immediately. I try to not raise my voice as much as possible. And I try to not engage with people that it is blatantly obvious that they're not on my level of consciousness. Now, I do that not as don't want to judge them, but because I know that the concepts that I would talk about and express, they have no understanding, or they're ignorant meaning lack of knowledge in that said topic and thing. So I reduce substantially my interaction with people on certain types of subjects and themes. So if I say something and they react to me in a certain way, I try my best very quickly to change the topic or the subject, because it becomes a dead conversation where you're having to teach and educate.
Yeah, they're just not ready to hear that yet.
No. I only teach and educate people, or have discourse with people who are asking me questions, who are my same level, or was like, Todd, explain that to me. I don't understand that. Where'd you get that from? What book did that come from? Where can I find this? You know what I mean? Instead of me trying to ram it down your throat, because I find that, like most of us that are in this community, when we get into it, we go through, like, there's stages from what I have seen from my journey and from looking at other people, is that first you get into it, you realize, well, everything is fake, the system is messed up, blah, blah, blah. And then you start to hate everything, hate the system, you want to fight everyone, you want to, yes, anarchy, this and that and third. But what happens is that we end up trying to think or want to try to save the world and tell everybody that the whole system is fake. But when you do that, you end up losing a lot of friends and family, man. You end up having awkward conversations that when you go out, you become that guy or that girl that is
Right.
like
Trying to
Johnny sad boy or Jill sad girl, you know?
right.
And you know, you can't educate people or teach people if they're not ready, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So one of the things I think that is lacking a lot in our community is spirituality,
Yeah.
because that's the next level above. First level is to learn and understand what it is, but then you lead to other realms of consciousness and understanding that, okay, these people that are controlling us, they try to tell us that God, source, and universal consciousness is not real, but they believe in it. Not the way we believe in it. They believe in it in the sense that they're trying to counter that. So
Right.
they can't be trying to counter it unless they believe it's real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. So
Right.
they're telling us in one sense that, you know, we are nothing. We are rubbish. But at the same time, they also know that we are part of the creator, and the creator is us, and we are it, and together we're one. So what they're doing is they try to tell us that we're not, but obviously they do believe that we are because of all these social programming that they give us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that being said, what I try to do now is say, okay, the idea of anarchy is sovereignty. So you need to be a sovereign being and protect your space and your consciousness and your energy. So why engage with people that you know are going to give you frustration? Why try to force something down someone's throat if they're not ready? And I learned this a lot with my ex-girl, because I studied her religion from top down. Like I said, when I'm into something, I'm into something. I read the books. I freaking watch documentaries, lectures. I can reference things in that religion and the books. You know what I mean? I dissected it, tore it apart. There's hardly anything that many people can tell me about Islam, because I can literally go and bring evidence, verses, scripture, books. I can tell you where to look. I can tell people things that will blow their head off. You know what I mean? Now, the problem is I was ramming it down her throat, you know?
Right.
And you can't do that to people, you know?
Right.
When you try to, basically, when you try to destroy, okay, let me phrase it. When you destroy someone's kingdom, right, which is what they have inside of them, you need to replace it with something else.
Right.
So if that's all she knows and I destroy it, she's thinking that I'm attacking her.
Right.
I'm attacking an idea, but she's wed to that idea, so she believes that is her identity.
Yeah.
And when you do that, people hate you for it, even if it's true. Because she said to me, Todd, I don't care if it is true. It is fact, happened in history, is proven, cannot be refuted. I don't care. If it goes against my religion, I don't want to see it or hear it.
Right.
Can you imagine that? She said to me,
Yeah.
I swear this one, because I explained to her the matrix, how it works. She says, Todd, I want to stay in the matrix. That's what she said to me, verbatim.
Yep.
So you can't force people. That was one of the things that I learned with her, amongst other things. And this is why when I talk with people now, if I see, okay, I can share only certain things, I just keep it super, super, super high level.
Yeah.
And I don't talk about politics and religion and these kind of things. If I do, very, very, very high level, because you have to start from first principles, from ground zero. Who has time for that, man? You know what I mean?
Oh man, that's a real struggle for me in my life too, and it's something that I'm trying to work on myself. Is that that really, just like we're talking about, you really have to gauge who you're talking to and try to listen more than you're saying things, and get a feel for where they're at, and then if they're ready for some information, you just give them drips of it, and then you let them go on their own journey themselves. You don't try to put everything in their face and, make them feel like they're insignificant or they don't understand, the true reality or something like that. Like, you just have to just really gauge the person that you're talking to and understand that everybody's on a different part of their own understanding and journey. And, have empathy and compassion for the person that you're talking to. And
Yes.
It's, it really helps, gain those people's respect. And
Yes, definitely.
it's a very hard thing to do when you've taken in so much information, though. You have so much information, and you want to. It feels like you just want to tell everybody, and like to look at all this information, and it's just like, oh my God, look at everything that's happening. I need you to know, and but it's not. A lot of people just aren't ready, and you just have to gauge it.
Yeah, man, and I find that it is also applicable in, like, with me and my business in terms of fitness, because when I'm talking to people, I'm asking questions. I start to realize if the person is ready or not because of the questions that I ask. And what I do realize as well is that most of the time when they don't want to do it is because of fear.
Yeah.
And I've seen this here that is I only understand it now. So, for example, I interviewed a girl once, and she said to me she thought I need to do this fitness thing because I almost died last year, and I need to get back in shape because I have a son and I don't want to be not there for him. And then at the end, when she asked me what it is, I told her. She says, okay, I'll do it. And then she just disappeared. I never heard from her ever again. Now, because I follow her on social media, I sometimes see some of her posts, and I can tell that her state is a state of fear, because her fear is either success or failure. And the reason why I always use those two together is because they're more or less the same, just different sides of the coin. Because this is the thing, when you start to do fitness, your circle and your relationships change. Because, for example, if you're accustomed going out with the girls or the boys every night, well, not every night, but regularly drinking and eating all this takeaway stuff, you're going to be like, nah, man, I've got a trainer now. I just spent X amount of dollars and pounds and euros and then, you know what I mean? I want to get myself in shape. Nah, man, I'm not going out. I'm not going out eating KFC. Exactly. They can say, but Greg, man, you've changed, man. You're not one of us anymore. You know what I mean? You think now because you looking good, you better than us. And no, they may or they may not say this directly to you, but a lot of the times that is the space from which the communication is coming from, whether it's conscious or subconscious. And that social pressure puts pressure on people a lot because they feel lonely. You know what I mean? They feel like, what are they going to do now, man? Like, I've got no friends anymore, you know? And for some people, it's really hard, you know?
Yeah.
Because if your friends are everything, your family are everything, and you're no longer eating cake and biscuits and drinking and smoking or whatever, you know what I mean? You can be like, okay, well, I just have one because, you know what I mean, I can't be antisocial. Right. And then that one turns into 2 and 3, and then you end up trying to see if you can do both together, and then you fail, and then you start to put on weight again, and then you think it's not working, and then you give up. You know?
Yeah, and you know what? It's like a lot of times you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't too. Like I see a lot of these like successful people in our, and I've I talked to a few of these really successful guys at in Acapulco, and once you have achieved your success and you've made it to a pretty good level of where you believe that you'd like to be, then everything still changes because like it can still be a very lonely road because at that point, people are, people have different motivations for being around you too. Like, does somebody want just a piece of you? It can still be a pretty lonely existence, even though you might have more people attracted to you because of your success. That it can still be lonely because it's hard to relate to other people. I think so.
Yeah, it is. From my journey, I realized that first thing first, you need to love yourself and love yourself in totality. And when you love yourself, you protect your sovereignty. When you protect your sovereignty, you do not allow people or certain types of food or music or things or substances, whatever, that lowers your energy, frequency, and vibration. Because we're all energy. We are a mind, body, spirit complex. And it's from your thoughts, your perceptions, and your beliefs that shape the experience you have in this world. And when you love yourself, you try to feed yourself the best food. When you love yourself, you try to surround yourself with people that are inspiring, that are doing better things than you. You are like, wow, man, I can work hard to be like them. Yeah. You're not going to surround yourself with people that, I don't know.
Are just negative all the time.
Just negative all the time.
Complaining about everything.
Everything, And here it is, you trying to be all positive, and that's all they're talking about, and it will affect you, So This is why they say if you hang in a bar, you will be a drunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what I mean? When you love yourself in totality, you look at these things. You feed your body, you feed your mind, and then you feed your spirit.
Yep. Yep.
And we're broken a lot in this society. Now, since before, I now say I am whole and complete, and I understand that many of us are broken because I'm no longer broken. I'm not. So I can't say that anymore. Because think about it, Greg. If I say I'm broken, guess what? I will create and manifest in my reality that I am broken. Yeah. So I can no longer allow myself to say that. So it's not from a place of arrogance, it's from a space of knowing who I am and what I am. But Christ says you need to be wise like a serpent and soft like a dove. So because of that,
that's one of my favorite lines. Yeah, man.
Correct.
It's
so this is why.
Yeah.
Mine as well is one of my favorite lines.
Cool. Yeah, it's just like and a lot of I think the esoteric teachings of Christ and the whole Christ consciousness is that it was about like everyone has the capability of becoming Christ-like, and
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you are Christ, I am Christ. Polag is Christ. Just to answer your quick question, the reason why my accent sounds a bit Irish is because when I went to the UK, one of the first guys I met was from Ireland. He was from Cork. So just to show you what I'm saying is that I can actually talk to him from Ireland properly, but I would speak like if I'm from Cork. And basically what happened is that because most of the English people couldn't really understand me very well, I kind of copied his accent so that they would understand me a bit more.
Oh.
And that's why one time I went to Ireland in 2008, I told people I was from Cork, I told people I was from St. Anne's. And they actually believed me because they said to me, but Todd, not to be funny, like, but, you're like black and, there are not really many black people in Cork. I said, well, what happened is that my dad was a sailor and he went sailing all around the West Indies and then he found my mother in Barbados and then he had me. So then I can flip it back, So because I've lived in the UK for so long, I've kind of like pulled in a lot of little twangs and things to that is my accent. So, and also for people that don't know, a lot of Barbados's ancestry is connected to Ireland because my great grandmother is actually Irish.
No way.
Proper. Yep, I did my family tree. My great grandmother is Irish. She went to Grenada, met a fisherman, had 2 children, and then went to Barbados. So my mother's maiden name is Casey. Casey is from Kerry, which is in Ireland. So I am of Irish ancestry. So yes, so this is why she asked if I'm from Ireland. So just to answer that question there, I saw why it sound like that, you know?
Oh yeah. Truck Life Family is from Ireland, I believe.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and there was a whole like golden age of the pirates and stuff, right? And were they hanging around in Barbados at some point?
Yeah,
too?
man. Yeah, man. This is the thing, right? Like when you look at history, all of us are very connected, you know, because like in Barbados we have a lot of like Irish last names, and they suffered a lot as well, you know, because they were called the indentured servants. So they were slaves just like the black people, working in the fields and getting beaten, whipped, and raped, and freaking shagged the same way as the blacks. So,
in fact, Charles Darwin said that the Irish were like the most like the lowest on the whatever. Like they could never increase their lot in life because they were so dumb or something like that. This is Charles Darwin. He was a eugenicist, you know. Yeah.
Dude, it's freaking nuts, man. Like, brother, like if you go online and you look at like stuff that was in the UK in the 50s and 60s, you will see signs: no blacks, no Irish, no dogs.
No way. Wow.
I swear to you on my life. And you found that the blacks and the Irish, up to today, most of the time, get on really, really well. Because like I told you, my mate, he was from Cork, Ireland. And he and I, up to this day, we don't speak a lot, but when we speak for hours. Yeah. You know, 2 and 3 hours. And the conversation is so rich, just like this conversation we're having now.
Yeah.
Because he's into a lot of things I'm into as well. And, you know what I mean? It's crazy. I mean, not that. I do have some really good English friends as well, that when we speak. But there's something with Irish people and Caribbean people, and from my experience, Barbados in specific as well, that there's such a big connection there because they did a lot in the West Indies. And, okay, well, when they were able to get out, you know, they were able to use their color to advance themselves. But the ones that know, oh, man, they're very down to earth, man. You know what I mean? They understand, you know? Because knowledge is power. And when you have knowledge, you're able to communicate, reflect, and do things in a different way, you know?
Right. Yeah, and it really is. And that's mainly why I think one of the big reasons we suffer, or humanity suffers, is for the lack of knowledge, or for our lack of knowledge. We don't know how the legal system works, and that's kept very obscure to keep people down
for a reason.
Yep. For a reason, and then we don't truly know what's happening in reality because our perceptions are controlled by the media, and so
the powers that shouldn't be, as I like to call them.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is why Christ said, "For my people suffer from the lack of knowledge."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, as you were saying before, this whole Christ consciousness thing, it is actually on the rise now, and I'll be honest, I am very, very excited for this year.
Yeah.
Now, like I said to you last night in the pre-interview, now I'm going to preface what I said early in conversation, but I'll say it again for everyone who's joined.
Yeah.
I am a political atheist, and I follow no religion, but I do believe in God, Father, universal consciousness, creator of all things, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah.
Right? So now, you prefaced that I'm going to say something that I will explain a bit, because when I said it to you last night, you laughed. And I really, really like Donald Trump.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't like Donald Trump for the reason where people hear say, what? So he's on this podcast and he's into anarchy and he likes Donald Trump?
Uh-huh.
Let me explain. I like Trump because of what is occurring because of him being in the position he's in. Now, we know that both sides are corrupt. We know that both sides play us off. But the other side appears, and I use the word appear, to be so much more corrupt that in order for them to try to defeat him, they're exposing themselves. They're taking off their clothes and being naked, right? So what's happening is that people like my mother that were not really into much of the things that I talk about, at 63 years old, she understands that the system is a fraud. Yeah. She understands the money is fake. She understands the media lie to us. Why? Because of Donald Trump. Yeah. So like I said, I really like him because it seems that because they hate him so much, things are speeding up to the point where it's like, man, you can't keep up anymore. It's like they're so obsessed with him that they're just, the things that you and I, Greg, would have talked about 5 years ago, the average person is slowly waking up to, purely because he's public enemy number one. And this is why I love him, because I want all of this stuff to come out. I want people to be able to free themselves from the system. Right. And this is why I would love him to get back in again. And I wouldn't vote for him because, well, voting makes no sense. It's a selection, not an election, and your vote doesn't count. But those that would vote, great. And I would love for him to get in because they will go all, you know what I mean, balls in, and you know what I mean? They would just expose themselves that people will wake up one day and you may go into work, maybe you're in the shop. I remember what you were saying, and that guy may say to you, Greg, wow, what you're saying, man, is true. Yeah. And this is why I really like him, because I think that because of him, we're getting an acceleration of the disclosure. We're getting a lifting of the veil, the apocalypse, the lifting of the veil at a faster rate from what it seems to me. I could be wrong, but this is why I really like the dude. Yeah. So,
well,
I mean,
for me, I think, you know, just like you said, it's not an election, it's a selection process. So, I think every single person and the very nature of government itself is just, it's a territorial monopoly of force. And,
of course.
And it's just that, I kind of see Trump as being this hopium for a lot of people, and a lot of people have quit, giving pushback to the government and thinking that he's going to be some kind of savior. And it's the same story over and over and over again. It's always played, the two sides that are just the polarizing figures, and then it's the somebody that can sell you the most hope, and that's the person that everybody almost creates into a godlike figure. I read a couple of books that are really, really great that really opened my eyes to see how all of that mind control works, and it can work in a couple of different ways. And one, the Egyptian pharaohs are depicted with their masks or on their sarcophagus with a crook and a flail. And the crook is like the shepherd's crook, where you get people to follow you by leading them in the direction that you want them to go through, adulation and worship, like you're a god or something like that. And the flail is that use of force. And so that's the trauma that can be inflicted on the populace. And so this is, the main way that humanity is controlled. We're controlled through the crook and the flail, through getting people to follow through adulation for one agenda. And then if people don't comply, that fear of being force being applied to you is what keeps everybody else in line. So it's just it's ancient. It's an ancient knowledge of how humanity and psychology works that's really been played on us. And that book that I read is called Blueprints for Mind Control. Is written by a guy, James True, and it's a really great book. I really recommend anybody that's out there listening to go check out that book. And but yeah, I do agree that he has really got people to start questioning some things for sure. Absolutely. The conversations, you can bring up different things to people now that I think they would probably sit and just think that you're crazy earlier. So, oh, I lost you. Let me pull you back on here. Hey, I lost you. Are you back?
Hey, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a really fascinating time to be alive right now. It's quite.
I am excited. I am absolutely excited because, look, what I am, because I've got a Facebook group called Fat Bernie Hackers on Facebook, and I put a lot of stuff in there that I don't put into the public, and this is one of the best times ever with this coronavirus scare to get yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically fit, because they're trying to tell you you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Now, when you really look at the evidence, it doesn't seem to be that bad. And the most people that actually do get sick are people that are immune compromised and the elderly. Now, let's say that you believe it. And they're saying basically that fit people don't really get sick, mostly.
Yeah.
So take this opportunity to get yourself fit. Get yourself into the gym, start, eating well, start eating all these crisps and these, fizzy drinks and so much cakes and stuff, and prepare yourself. Use it as a platform to elevate yourself, because this is the thing. Negativity and things that happen to us, in quotation marks, bad, are supposed to be used as a lesson, to use as a platform to elevate yourself. Because I was reading but I don't remember where it was, but it said that negativity and bad things are good because they elevate you to another level. You're supposed to use them as a stepping stone. So you stand on them and use them to lift you up, to go higher. And now I look at things like that. Look at life like that. Change my whole view and perception on things, So yeah. Bad things are not necessarily bad.
Yeah, you can take them as a oh, woe is me, victim, be a victim, or you can, just like you're saying, look at them as what lesson was I supposed to learn there, and,
exactly,
and then take it in a positive direction and use it to empower yourself to become better in the future. Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I've really realized in my life too, always trying to continue to grow and to learn and just continue doing that every day and keep moving forward in a positive direction. So
this is what life is, Life is here about learning, man. And this is what I tell people on my Facebook group and also people that I meet. Getting a mortgage, getting kids, getting a job, freaking getting married, etc., are just part of your journey. They are not the journey. The journey is to learn, improve, get to a higher level of consciousness, and connect with the all. Yeah? So all of those things, like me breaking my foot, me getting involved with my girlfriend, me losing my job twice in 1 year, me freaking losing loads of money, it was that's just part of the journey. The journey is to connect with y'all. So now I am connected where I've seen in real time how strong a real connection with the universe is taking care of me. I have no doubts. I have no fears. I worry about nothing anymore. And when I do catch myself worrying, I have a conversation with myself and I literally say, well, what are you worried about? You see? Because, you know what I mean? Yes, I have reached a certain level of consciousness, but you always have higher levels of wisdom. Always have higher levels. And I still make mistakes and errors. And I still have to sit down and coach myself, talk to myself. But then I realize, you know what? Okay, man, that's cool. Forgive myself and move on, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, when you were talking earlier about, when you hurt your foot and everything, and you had to figure out ways to train that you could still train and not feel the pain from your foot. Like, have you been able to really find great techniques for people that have like injured other parts of their body? Like earlier, Vlad was saying that he hurt himself and hurt his shoulder, and it really prevents him from working out. Is there some things that you learn along the way with your foot, and how you can train that you can still do, certain types of activities and still really train hard and well?
Yeah, so like for me now, I can't do, like with my training program, I don't have cardio because I learned that one, cardio is not really effective, first thing first, because the way it works in biology is that when you are doing cardio, at that moment, yes, you may be burning fat and calories, but when you stop, your fat burn stops. And what happens in the majority of cases in traditional cardio is that you end up burning more muscle than fat because, and the best way for me to explain this so someone can get a good visual is, okay, there's a long distance runner called Mo Farah. He's British. He won the I think the 8,000, the 10,000 or something like that. He won gold in the last Olympics. He's a long distance runner. Or look at the guy, Gabriel Selassie. No, these guys are fit. But do they have any muscles on them? They're skinny, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, if you run a marathon, do they have any muscularity? Do they have any definition?
No, those guys are super skinny. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you do cardio in the traditional sense, this is what you're doing to your body. You're burning all your muscles, man. You will burn all the muscles first before you get the fat burn. So this is why most people that do traditional cardio actually get fatter. Most people that do traditional cardio don't get results.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that experience myself. I mean, really, my best results that I ever got were from, I wasn't doing any cardio really. I was just changed my diet and was doing like 6 meals a day and portioned out and everything. And then I was sitting in the gym like, 3 or 4 times a week and working on my strength training and all that kind of stuff, and hiking and doing a lot of hiking and playing playing team sports. And I was able to lose weight, and I lost like 55 pounds in like, I don't know, I think it was like 6 months or something like that. It took a while, but I was losing the weight and it was effective. It was working.
This is exactly what Atomic Swap is saying. He's saying either turn and lift. It's about intensity. Sprinters are ripped and long distance runners look like Gumby. Now, dude, I'll be honest with you, right? You stole my thunder. So I'll give you the props, right?
Nice.
You stole my thunder. I was literally going to say the exact same things that you said.
Nice.
And this is why my ethos is training like a sprinter. So when I was reinventing myself to go back in the gym and I was doing a lot of research, one image stood out in my head, and that was Ben Johnson in the Olympics when he beat Carl Lewis when he was drugged up. He was ripped as a mofo, and he was wick.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and said, Jesus, man, he's got the best body I've ever seen as a sprinter. And then it was like, that's interesting. But then you got these guys that are doing long distances, and they got no body, man.
Yeah.
They're just tiny. And that's when it clicked to me like, okay, train like a sprinter and not like a long distance runner. So what I would say is that for shoulder, he can still do stuff on his upper body, but if his legs are good, he can do a lot more explosive lower body things like lunges, squats, deadlifts, and if you want to make it really interesting, jumping squats. And because your shoulder shouldn't hurt you too tough, things like burpees. And you just need to do them in high intensity. And then you would, if your shoulder is not strong to do a lot of like heavy lifting upper body wise, you can still lift your capacity in maximum capacity. And once you compensate now on the bottom for the legs, you will be able to get the aesthetic look, you know, that you wanted because you were shifting your focus on from the upper to the lower. And you will still look good because what people don't realize is that your diet is about 80% of the whole fitness thing. The 10%, I always say for rest, and the other 10% is training. So if his diet is good and he trains, like how I said to train just now, then he will still get his upper body to grow and look good. It will just take a little bit longer because he wouldn't be able to push out the heavy sets because of the shoulder, but it will come. And then he compensates now to do those explosive moves on his lower body to burn the fat. I do the opposite. So I work my upper body harder to burn the fat because I can't do it on the legs. But I will still do squats and lunges and deadlifts. But I can't do jumping squats. I can't do sprints. I can't do jump turns. I can't do boxes, anything like that. So it's a matter then now of looking at the areas that are strong and tailoring your exercise routine to those areas. But, and I always caveat with a but, your diet must be good. You know, if not, it won't work.
Yeah. Yeah. The diet is the key for sure. Yeah.
My mentor said, you can out diet bad training, but you can't out train a bad diet.
Right. Yeah. That's something I got to work on is what I'm eating. I'm not really eating the cleanest, and a big part of what I need to do is get back to doing the portion meals and to really eat cleaner and do the work. You got to do the work. It doesn't come.
Got to do the work.
It doesn't come easy. Yep.
No, Napoleon Hill calls it working belief.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And once you believe, you know, you can get it done. You put in the work, man, because look, man, I could design a diet for you. I could design a training regime for you. But if you don't put in the work, you know what I mean? It's just not going to happen, man. You know what I mean? I can't do it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and man. Yeah, is there any way, like, if anybody's interested in contacting you, do you have like a website or anything that you have that people can go check out, or?
I'll put my details here in the chat.
All right.
So my name is Todd Cave on Facebook, and then it is at Adriano _246 on IG. And then I've got a website that people can, you know, book a call with me and stuff. I'll but www.compoundbodytraining.com,
All right.
and it has a little bit about my story there and what I did, and some other things there. And you can always book a free call with me, where we can have a small, quick call and see,
Yeah.
if I can help you and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Great. Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with me today. So I'll leave you with your final word, and then we have coming up right after me, we have Crimson Clad and Steam Wave Saturday. So everybody's hang out on the waves, and we got some great shows coming up for you later in the day. So with that, Todd, I'll leave you with the last word and what you'd like to leave with the audience.
Well, I would like to say, first thing, thanks, Greg, for giving me the opportunity to come and talk with you all. I really enjoyed it. I've never done anything like this, but the universe works in such a weird way. Is that last year I said that I am going to end up doing an interview with someone somewhere, and I didn't know how it was going to look like, and it happened. So I just want to say that, what I mean? The universe works in mysterious ways. It all has to come from your belief in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you love yourself, and you protect your sovereignty, you will be able to overcome any challenges you have. Another thing I would say is that start to look at your vocabulary and your self-talk, because your words are spells, and you end up by talking yourself more than any other person that you'll ever meet. You tell yourself negative things on a very frequent basis. For those people that are going through anything very, very difficult in their life, what I would say is just trust the process. And I was told this many times, and not that I didn't believe it. And what I would say is that it's easy for someone to say, yeah, trust the process, because they're not going through what you're going through. But what I would say is that, trust me, I've been there. I've been to the darkest parts of my mind, and I've had some very bad things happen to me. And trust the process. It will all make sense. You can get through it. And the day that you stop fighting is the day that you will actually win, because the things you're fighting against are the things that you need to embrace the most, and those are the things that will give you the best results in your life. So, do some personal development, invest in yourself, because there are always things that you can learn, and the day that you think you know everything is the day you really know nothing. So this is why I like to repeat what Buddha says, is that to go to somewhere, you need to go to nowhere. So what I do is I piggyback on that and say is that in order for me to become something, I need to become nothing. So the more you become nothing is the more you become something. So I am just touched, honored, blessed, very thankful for having this opportunity to share my thoughts with y'all. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, my details are there in the chat. And wishing y'all much love and light. And it was great connecting with you all. And I look forward to doing it again sometime, because I really enjoyed it, man. It was real fun,
Cool.
And we feel like we could speak for hours, so it'd be a pleasure to come back on and do it again,
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, for sure. Love to have you back on and catch back up with you and see what's stay in touch with what's going on with your journey, man.
Yeah, man, will do.
Awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed getting to meet you there in Acapulco, Mexico. I really miss Mexico. It's a beautiful place down there.
6 months, man. You know what I mean? I've got a great view of the bay, and like what I pay for my flat here I could never afford a flat like this in London.
Yeah.
And the view that I have would cost me maybe 5 times the amount.
Yeah.
So for anyone that is looking to get out of Europe and the States, Mexico is not as bad as they say it is, you know. I mean, obviously do your own research, but where I am in Acapulco is pretty darn safe.
Yeah.
But I'll preface this. There's some sacrifices you have to make, and one of them is the internet. So don't expect blazing speeds.
Yep.
So
yep.
Everything is sacrificed.
Well, all right, brother. Thanks again for coming on, and I really appreciate your time and everything. And it was a really great show. And y'all stay tuned for Crimson Cloud Steamwave Saturday. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Meadows and Makers podcast. Peace.
Okay. Peace.
Much love, brother.
Much love.